Hi guys! Okay, so I'm not great at introductions, so let's just get into this. I reached 5,000 subscribers. Yay, thank you. Not a huge amount of people ask questions, but I think that also has to do with the fact that I generally answer questions whenever people send them to me. So people don't really need to ask them. Either way, we did get some questions in, so we will be talking about the questions and I shall be giving some answers. Obviously, well, like I said, I'm generally a rather open book, but I might omit some things for privacy because, you know, life. First off the bat, new house, finally here. Oh my god. Recording's gonna start happening, not just like the streams. I'm actually gonna get back on top of the stuff that we started doing. I'm gonna start doing game development, so properly again. So there might be videos involving that as well. My room is really not very well set up because I literally moved in 2 days ago, and it's mostly just boxes around me at the moment. We moved some furniture in recently, and I have not had time to really fill stuff up because it's also, you know, Easter weekend. And certain young man who's currently drinking over there at the moment, of course meaning Mr. Gabriel, spent a lot of time with him because he never moved anywhere else before and he's 15, so there's been a lot of coaxing and cuddling and, you know, taking up of that sort of time. Anyway, let's get on the questions because no one really cares about my life part about the videos that we do and all that. So, how much time do you have? Basically I'm fine, but you know, I'm always fine. There's been a lot of shit going on the past 3 years. Like, you know, like, because when I started doing videos in general, which was like 2009, I got, no, you know what, they're just too much, but basically I'm fine. Being a bit sad, understandably. Shit went down. Shit always goes down, you know, you deal. It's all about managing and maintaining your adult life while also maintaining your happiness, which can always be the more difficult part about that. But yeah, you know, you live, you learn, you deal with it, you make the best of what you can. I'm good. You know what? I'm upgrading to good because good things are happening right at this moment, even though we're not quite fully through the shit part of it yet, but we're really close to it now. It's been a time. What was the question again? It was just how are you, wasn't it? It's a difficult question to answer. But I'm fine. I'm good. I hope you're good too. That's the more important thing to me, that you guys are good. Yeah. Okay, so I've actually got technically 2 answers for that because my first job wasn't actually officially my first job because it was working for my dad, and you know, we paid underneath, you know, like the table, we'd be like, here's some money, you know, thank you for your work, but it's, you know, not actually stuff that you would call your first job, where someone makes you sign tax files and say that they are employing you, and you're going back in your hidey hole. That's always good. But yeah, so my first job for my dad was scanning medical documents because he was a doctor. Well, he is a doctor. And basically they had moved from doing paper records to digital records, and basically I would then get dropped off after work by my mother at my dad's work and scan medical documents and letters that had come in, you know, for a couple of hours, and I would see a whole heap of gross stuff. I don't mean like, you know, letters. I mean, there were letters, but you know, you just was like, yeah, it's a letter, blah, 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 blah. But you would see stuff like, yeah, you'd see weird stuff, Gabriel. You'd see stuff like results of colonoscopies, like pictures of people's colons, and, one moment. All right, where were we before the cat interruption? Ah, yes, pictures of colonoscopies. No bueno. not the sort of stuff that you really want to see when you're 15 or 16. But, you know, it earned me some pocket money, so I don't regret any of it. And, yeah, my first, though, actual, you know, technically properly paying job was I was doing credit card collections for a bank, and I was mostly doing like early collections where they basically like, you know, someone has forgotten to pay their credit card and you just call up and say, hey, we haven't received your credit card payment, would you like to pay? Yeah, okay, let me just put you down for that. I proved quite good at that. I mean, I was in the job for only like 6 months, but the reason why I left, I mean, other than the fact that it was kind of like boring and soul-sucking at that point, was that, yeah, they decided to move me to a section called loss mitigation, which is basically your debt is so bad that they're taking your house on Monday. And so I lasted 2 weeks at that point where I would just call people and say, sorry, you haven't paid anything, like literally anything on this loan that you have, so we are taking your house on Monday. Like, again, 3 years. We're talking about people who have not paid a single cent on their thing for 3 years, and yet somehow that would come as a big surprise to them that the bank would visually then go, sorry, it's time, you know, we've given you 3 years to pay something, it's, you know, time for you. Yeah, it's basically to pay the paper. Pay the piper at that section. So I did not last very long because people would either cry or scream at me, and I got very, like, frightened of phones for a while then. Like, you know, like, several years later when I came back to Melbourne after living in the UK, and I signed up to do basically almost exactly the same job that I did for my dad first up, which was I was going to work at a hospital and process, you know, their medical records. Except the second day that I was there, someone quit from the call center and they said, can you cover? And then they went, you're actually good at this. This is your job now. Yeah, somehow I lasted in that job for 1.5 years, even though I hated every minute that I had to call someone or answer the phone. But, you know, like, you live and you learn, and I'm in a job that I like now. It's actually kind of a bit of a weird one. I won't really go that much into it, but, like, I'm doing... How do I even explain this job? It's such a strange job. Basically, I'm taking care of a database for a furniture importer, where they also help make forward orders of customized furniture from Europe. So people, you know, order this furniture and like half a year later it arrives. And we're talking about expensive furniture. We're talking like thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm not just taking care of their database, I'm also taking care of their marketing and their IT and basically training people as well. You know, like, it's one of those things that, you know, someone goes, this is a thing I'd like to do. Can you help me do it? And it's a really varied job, and I actually quite dig it because, you know, like, from any given day I could be working on spreadsheets, or I could be working on Photoshop, or I could be like talking to other companies about how we want to market something, which is, again, not my wheelhouse, and yet somehow I seem to be doing quite well at this job. So yeah, it's weird, it's wacky, it's wonderful. It's a weird thing, and, you know, you end up in weird places sometimes, and sometimes it works out for you. You know, like, I hadn't actually planned on redoing those. I thought, you know, that they're fine. Although looking at the Return to Zork ones, because I did those and Zork Nemesis, like, so long ago, the audio is bad. You know, like, a lot of the early stuff that I did is just, like, the audio is bad. We didn't know any better in 2009. We didn't have good enough internet, even if we did know better at that time, to actually upload anything. Like, even just, like, upload sizes have changed so drastically in that 10-year period. Like, back in 2009, I was uploading videos that were 15 megabytes big, and they would be like, well, I mean, they, they'd be like 10-minute videos because that's all we had. And now I can upload like, like a 2 to 5 gigabyte video and it can still look terrible because, like I'm not really all that, I almost wanted to say professional, but no, it's not the lack of professional. I mean, look, I'm using a pop filter. Like that fixes anything. But, like, I don't really bother with stuff like, 60 FPS or, like, I haven't had an internet where I've been able to be like, yes, I will upload several gigabytes of video data until now, because Newhouse has much, much better upload speed. But, it is what it is, and I think, though, that if people do want to see, like, some of the older stuff redone with better audio, I think that is something we could definitely do. The one that I probably would really like to redo would be Equalized Mysteries, but that is so much talking. Oh my god, like, I don't know at what point back then that I went, you know what, I'm going to do the voice acting for everything, and I'm going to do it all by myself, and, Equalized Mysteries is long. There's I think it actually is 99 cases long, and so, after doing that, when it was like, do you want to do Equalized Mysteries in London, and it was just like, my voice can't take it. I know that it's, there's a CD version where it is fully voiced, but at the same time, like, if you've done this long Let's Play where you've done it in one method, do you really want to swap it out for something that isn't the way that you did it? And again, it's long. So it's one of those things that, especially now this is my 10th anniversary coming up in June, that I think I will be probably doing something Eagle Eye Mysteries in London related, but what form that's gonna take is still in question. Like, I definitely would like to do the entire game, because I didn't actually own Eagle Eye Mysteries in London as a child. I did download it from Home of the Underdogs, but that was before we had the copy protection, so you'd only be able to play so far. I've got a CD version of it, and I've got the actual proper copy protection that goes with it, but I'm still kind of like tossing up in the air of, will it just be me talking to myself doing the voices? Will I let the CD do the voices themselves? Or will I co-opt a whole group of people to be different characters? And I would love to do that last one, but I don't know how many people, or even any people, would be like, yes, I want to be in an Eagle Eye Mysteries in London. Wait, what is Eagle Eye Mysteries? Especially like when it'd be like, oh, some cases not everyone's gonna appear. If I could find like 2 other people, that would be like my number one choice. But finding 2 people that want to go through a long game with me, again, big ask. But who knows, maybe some people might see this video and be like, yes please. Although I would say that hopefully they're people I know, because I definitely feel more comfortable with people I know rather than trying to pick up with someone new and being like, I don't really know you, I don't know your voice, I don't know if this is gonna last more than a week. You know what I mean? You might know what I mean. But yeah, so I think that's kind of answered that question. I know that was a really long-winded explanation of it. But probably what I would say then, if there are videos that you would like to see reduxes of, like, I'm definitely going to leave the older videos up, but, say for example, the audio quality in Legendary 1 and 5 are bad, we could redo those ones as well. I could get different people, I would be getting different people on, to join me on that. But, they're different things, they're lovable things. I know that I definitely, with, I'm sorry to harp on this one question, but, to do my favorite game, one of my favorite games of all time, Genie's Curse. I did start that, but again, it's so long that like I got like 3 videos into it and I'm like, I want to give this the proper respect it's due, and then I just didn't pick it up again. But again, you know, that was also circumstance of life and time at that point, and I think that that is something I would definitely like to go back to. I kind of would like to go back to that with someone, just to kind of like, it's fine for me to go through it and play it again and do voices and, you know, because I love that game. I play it a lot. I still, like, you know, like, I still pretty much play it every year at least once. I can't, like, usually I would say that I play it, you know, like 2 to 3 times a year, and my god, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to that game. But, you know, like, with life and all that, I haven't really gone much into it, the past 2 years. But I'd really like to show someone why I, you know, affectionately love that game. And why I'm kind of sad that there aren't more games like that, even though there is Entomorph, and Entomorph is kind of trash. Fun trash, but trash. So yeah, so I think that's definitely an ask of redoing Zork videos. Again, if more people want it, I will get to it at some point. You know, it's the same thing with, like, you know, the living books. One of the highest comments I usually got was, can you do this but without without you speaking? Because I know my voice isn't for everyone. My voice has changed though. So it is definitely interesting going back to those old videos and hearing how much higher my voice was back then. Which, you know, it's kind of odd considering I was, you know, almost 24 at that point. You wouldn't think that your voice would go necessarily that much deeper or more rich, like gain a complexity. But, you know, it might also be the microphones have changed and the process has changed, your wit changes over time. How would your wit change your voice? No, you never know. No, like, basically, if you want it, just ask for it. Stuff will eventually happen. I can't give any dates on when anything will happen at the moment, just because we're just first trying to pick up exactly where we were before all this happened. Yeah. The last one, I'm going to say no at the moment, just because it is boxes at the moment. Although if you do follow my Instagram, there's mostly been a lot of pictures of Gabriel getting around in this new space, so you can kind of piece parts of it together. What I will say about it is I have an entire floor of a house to myself. I mean, it is just essentially one large room with an ensuite and a walk-in robe and a balcony, which has been fitted out for Gabriel so he can go out there by himself. It's, you know, it's just a glorified room. I don't even have a door. It's just a landing. It goes straight down into the family room. But still, I can literally say I have a whole floor of a house to myself. Like an attic room, except it's not an attic, it's just a second floor. But it's nice and big. I can't work out if it's bigger than my old bedroom, because my old bedroom was kind of like a double room, but it was a double room meant for small, like, you know, like 2 children growing up. And actually that's kind of part of the reason why I started having like issues with space by the end of it, because it wasn't just like my double bed and my desk, it was my double bed, my desk, and 2 single beds that my dad insisted stay in that room. I did disassemble them, but you know, that's the whole thing of like, here's these 2 disassembled beds and their mattresses just floating around in this room where there's also like your adult stuff. So yeah, that was fun. And yes, I have lived with my parents for a very long time. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, everyone's got a different way of living. I did not want to live with strangers. I have lived by myself for a while. But you know, you work out what works for you. Because I have Gabriel, and Gabriel is old, I generally don't want to live, you know, like without him. And my mother takes care of him when I'm not available. And she makes dinner, which is great. I don't have to cook. Although I can cook. I just, you know, I work full time. So it's kind of like, it's nice to come home and be like, oh, dinner's going to be ready in half an hour. All I have to do is go and, you know, work on the other stuff I have to get done. I have to go feed Gabriel, obviously, and, you know, take care of Gabriel. What is it like in terms of house? Like, you know, my old house, if you look at any of my old videos, like any of them, if you can find any of those cam videos, if they're still up, like, it was a mud brick house. It constantly dusted off. Like, it was, you know, like, we lived there actually, we moved into the house, like, 6 months before I was born, and, so dust has always been something I've dealt with all my life. Living on a dirt road also would have been part of the dust, but, you know, the dust was prevalent. It was everywhere. This house is a weatherboard house. It has plaster inside. It does have some wood beams downstairs. This is the first house I've had that has carpet just as part of it, although we do want to take it up. Yeah, so it's very different. It's a different way of living as compared to most of my life, but, you know, it's really close to the beach. Like, so out that window, I mean, it's, you know, it's a couple minute walk to the end of our driveway, but on the opposite side of the street from us, it goes up and it goes down, and there's the ocean. Like, there's the ocean. Antarctica is that way. There's nothing between me and Antarctica. Antarctica is over there. I mean, there's, you know, there's a big space of water, but Antarctica is over there. I have never been more sure of anything in my life. Antarctica is over there. So, yeah, in terms of, like, far from where I lived, yeah, it was an hour and a half drive to bring Gabriel here from my dad's house to my new house. But it would have been a lot worse before things like Eastlink and the Peninsula Link came into existence, because I remember when we got Gabriel, I mean, it wasn't quite as far as this, but he, like, the breeder that we got him from was in southeast Melbourne. I mean, we are far southeast Melbourne now. I think almost technically we're not in the city of Melbourne anymore. I think we might be, we might still technically be considered the outskirts because it's a peninsula, but it's almost the fact that we're not in the metro area anymore. Like, there's a hot springs that direction, and again, Antarctica is over there. But before, like, you know, like, Melbourne worked on some of its, you know, infrastructure things, and there's still a lot of work to be done. Like, you know, the whole election thing seems to be all about those sort of issues. But it took us like 2 hours to bring Gabriel home 15 years ago. So I can only imagine that before they put in Eastlink and the Peninsula Link, that trip that we, you know, took Gabriel on would have taken us close to 3, maybe 4. Like, we're not quite as far as Phillip Island, which is like your way, which is an island that penguins come in and is wonderful. But because, you know, I can explain it, but, you know, maps. But basically, I know that from my dad's house to Phillip Island is 3.5 to 4 hours. That was before those roads I was talking about. So yeah, you know, big busy thing. Let's move on. Yes. I know that because I've been doing stuff with Yar, and I've made the acquaintance of the Wanderer 1990, who incidentally is from Australia as well, just further up the coastline. He's over there, like, yeah, there. But so he's further up the coastline and that, but he's been playing Shivers 1. I don't think he's quite finished it yet, but when he does, we're talking about doing a dual let's play of Shivers 2, so we only have to go through it once. I mean, I think Shivers 2 is better than Shivers 1. I haven't played it. I do remember playing a demo of it, and the whole vibe of it was a bit better. for me anyway. So I'm intrigued to play that, and I think it will be fun playing it with the Wanderer. So yes, there will definitely be Shivers 2 coming. Now, I have definitely played Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego Deluxe Edition. That's the one I grew up with, and somehow I've always been kind of geography blind, so I've never really gone great with that. Like, I know some stuff about the world, but mostly I recognize things by facts rather than, like location based. In terms of the other Carmen Sandiego games, I do have Word Detective and the Think Quick Challenge. I have not played those. I got so many, like, copyright things about the one that I did do, the Math Detective, that it just kind of felt like, do I really want to upload a video just to get another copyright infringement notice? I mean, again, I know I'm not really in this for any sort of profit. The money that I do get from YouTube through that sort of stuff, it either goes into, like, buying games to play for this channel, or saving up for stuff like going to Adventure X. So it's not really that I'm doing this for the money, but I kind of don't like the idea of just putting stuff up for someone else to reap the benefit of me putting up this video. If it was in the case of, like, that I was actually putting up copyrighted music, but like it's stuff that feels like should be public domain, or was specifically made for that game, that for some reason later that someone went, what, let's put copyright's a really weird issue, and I don't think that YouTube does it very well, and it just kind of made me feel like it wasn't worth it to put up the videos of just constantly getting copyright infringements. Like, I would get like 3 or 4 for the same video, just because the incidental music was just everywhere. It was everywhere. It was prevalent. So yeah, I think that I would probably do some of the other games, not necessarily as like a full-on let's play, but like more like a quick, like, sort of like summary of what this game was, and here's a little section of it, rather than having to be like, let's play through every single challenge and work out that I'm bad at math. Well, not bad at math. I did graduate high school with like rather high marks in specialist maths, but not, like sometimes when you let's play, you're like, I don't want to think about math, and yet I'm playing Math Detective, and this game is like not something I've thought about in terms of like the brain structuring of these puzzles for a while, and my brain is just switched off. So yeah, but I do really enjoy edutainment videos. I did obtain some copies of Clue Finder games. I've never played them, but that does not mean they will not be played. That just means that it will take me more time to actually get to them, rather than something I'm, familiar with and will definitely play sooner than later. Lucy, have you played any of my games? I have a feeling that like quite a few people either have forgotten, or because that I made games and that I'm still technically working on a game. So if you haven't really been around, let me quick fill in. Failed Kickstarter for a game called Lorna Baines. It was kind of like Laura Bow, because I'm really into Laura Bow, but with like a character flip of basically, instead of Laura Bow, who's like you're like your little preppy, like, hi, like, like everything's sugar and sweetness, and I'm just gonna stumble my way through a murder, and then, like, make a player, actually do the work rather than the character doing the work. I probably could explain that better. Basically, Laura Bow stumbles onto murders, and it's up for you, the player, to work out what the F's going on, which is a fine mechanic, but it makes the character kind of annoying. I love Laura. I'm not calling her fully annoying. I can see why people would find her very annoying. But, so basically, Lorna Baines was kind of a flip of that. She was the daughter of a con artist instead of a policeman, and that basically everything that she was doing was either getting herself ahead of something or earning some effing cash, because she was in the Great Depression in the 1930s in Florida. She wanted out of there. So Basically that is the thing that I'm still technically working on, even though I haven't had time to work on it with, you know, all the move and all the other stuff of life. But that doesn't mean that it has been cancelled by any means. It's something that, you know, I keep writing notes for, I keep doing little bits of programming for, but it just hasn't kind of coalesced into like me actually like fully putting games together and being like, here it is, here's a thing. But yeah, I have a lot of other ideas as well. Like there's just a gigantic blotter of adventure game ideas that if I ever find time will get made. You know, if I ever get successful in this thing, you know, I've got a steamroller of like things to go back through and then being like, can we actually make this as a game? Is this worthwhile? Anything? But yeah, so there's a lot of ideas. Definitely the ones that I would say definitely the most focus on is Lorna Baines. So yeah, so keep your eye on this space. So this next section is basically people asking, will I do videos with certain people again? So in general, when it comes to people that I've done videos with that I haven't done with for a long time, like Kokoskia or, we'll start with Kokoskia. It's not that I don't want to do videos with him, it's just, you know, like, it's been 10 years, we've kind of moved into different circles, we don't talk. It's not that anything happened, it's just, you know, people verged apart. Again, saying verged apart just kind of makes it sound like something happened. Nothing happened. We're, you know, friendly still, we just don't actually move in the same circles, we're in completely different time zones. We all had to adult, and basically it just kind of tore people apart in the sense, again, tearing people apart suggests that something actually happened. It's just, I just didn't keep speaking to him at some point, and it's just been several years since then. Nothing happened. It's unlikely that we're ever gonna probably just drift back into each other's lives and be like, let's make a video, man. I think also, I wouldn't want to like be like, let's do a long series again, because if people remember the Pepper's Adventures in Time Let's Play, he and Gavarok left me. Like, obviously, again, that makes it sound like something bad happened. Just they were not interested in the game after a certain point. They just went, we're out, you have fun. I would not want to sign up for another series to be left alone again when the whole idea was that it was going to be 3 people doing voices. You know? You know? I mean, we did rope Gavarok in as a very late stage, and things got weird. Like, things got really weird. Pepper's Adventures in Time would probably be a good one to do again if I had people that actually played the game and were kind of aware of what it was before going in. You know, I think it's a hard one to basically be like, guess what? You're doing a voice now. You don't know anything about this game. You're doing a voice. Because, like, the art style's really out there. The edutainment's kind of, like, hazy, and the situation is just weird. It's one of the reasons why I really like that game. But yeah, so I think, like, you know, stuff like that, again, nothing happened that, you know, it's like that we're in, like, blood feud or anything. It's just, we drifted away, we drifted apart. Unlikely to happen. If it somehow happened, it would happen. I would probably never play Pepper's Adventures in Time with him again, but but you know, like, the future's unknown, things could happen. I don't, like, there's no plans for it, basically. In terms of Women's Murder Club, it was something I was trying when, because back at that point I was doing videos as part of Nerdvice, which again, nothing really happened with that, just in terms of, like, leaving that. It was just kind of like, I don't really have time for this at the moment. Maybe if I got time again, I'll come back, and I don't know, is that still a thing anymore? But, basically, I'm still friends with Valerie. I didn't really know Smarty very well. I know of him still, kind of, but not really, you know, knew him to be like, oh yes, let's do more videos together. Punky Val is doing videos, but they're more like let's play of Switch games that come out, and they look really cool, and she does some really good live streams of them. I don't think that we would really have a time zone that would fit well to be like, come on, Punky, let's get back into the Women's Murder Club. You remember that, right? But yeah, and as for her crabbiness doesn't do videos anymore. Like we kind of all adult too much, and probably if I asked her if she wanted to do something, she would probably say yes. I just don't know if she would find time. That again, time zones are a big problem. I'm just kind of lucky with like the adventure, YouTube adventure round crowd. Ugh, I cannot talk anymore. I've been talking for a while. The YouTube adventure round table, the round crowd is I like that. No, but with the people, like half of them are Europeans, and half of them are Australians. There's one or two, people from from the United States that their time zones kind of fit in as well. But that just kind of works out that because like my morning time is their night time of the previous day, that like Saturday, which is, well, for me, Saturday morning is their Friday night, and they happen to be free, so it just works out. But I know with the Americans that they're kind of in the middle of the afternoon, and it's not always a great time for them to then jump on with us, but we make do. But I think definitely the fact that the time zones kind of allow that sort of thing to happen a bit more freely with the Europeans and the Australians, just kind of means that there's more likely to be with videos with those people. Not that I like them any better than some of those other people, but I mean, actually I kind of do, because they're my friends now. They're just people I hang out with, even if we weren't doing YouTube Adventure Roundtable. But it's nothing against the people that I'm not doing videos with anymore. It's just life. We all have to adult. We all have to, make a balance of the stuff we have to do for life and the stuff we have to do for family, and then the other stuff that we try and want to fit into things, which is the fun stuff, unfortunately. And usually the fun stuff's the stuff that we all push aside and be like, we can do it later. Okay. Oh, as for Harvester, so the thing that I run on YouTube Adventure Roundtable, the things that I edit, is the FMV Club. So basically, we've done gag. I've got a game coming out that we're gonna start recording next week. I'm not telling anyone what it is. Well, I know for a fact no, he's not doing the video with us, but one person that I watched it from, and I wouldn't say head over heels for this game. It intrigues me so much. I want to know more. It's kind of stupid and cheesy at the same time, and crap. But so I've been enjoying doing that. Harvest is probably more likely to go up on that than on my channel by itself, just because I don't know what I'd really talk about Harvester for an entire video by myself or with one-on-one person, but with a whole group of people, yeah, I could do that. Not really a question, but I always do enjoy your enthusiasm, Samuel, whenever you do send messages. I don't always get time to respond to them, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that it's not unappreciated. It just means that I've read it and then gone, I will answer it later, and then unfortunately forgotten about it, because again, I work full-time, and we're trying to balance a whole heap of things, and the cat is now walking around me. So yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, I did get some of the Clue Finders games, so yeah. So it's something that might show up on the channel at some point, but you can go downstairs at the moment. Okay. I think kind of in a way we've kind of already instigated that different direction, in the sense that videos where I probably will still do some offline multiplayer, like co-commentated games, but I do quite like the idea of the streams that I do are those kind of more rambunctious, we're doing the voices of a game sort of stream. It definitely means I don't have to do any editing, which is always amazing, because again, have to adult. But in terms of like changing the direction of the channel, I probably with some of the entertainment stuff, rather than doing just like, this is the whole game, let's play the whole thing, more summaries. That doesn't mean that I won't do full versions of those sort of things, because like, especially with the Barbie games, because I still have more Barbie games, some of those are crack, and we must see all of the crack. But in terms of like changing anything else, I probably will, do some, I've always done like little bonus videos, not always well received or appreciated, but they happen. I am going to be putting up some old reviews of mine, which, like, we're talking about like 2012 and kind of make me cringe, but like, I was talking about Rihanna Rouge the other day, and then I was like, well, I have this old review I did of it when it was on Blip. It's terrible, but it's fun. So, that's gonna show back up again. Don't know if anyone wants to see it, but it's going up. Enjoy. But, like something like that would be something I probably would like to do again in some form, but something that requires a lot less editing, because I did so much editing, and I can do editing. It takes time, and there's so many things I want to get done that it's just like, it feels like I just want it over and done with. I'm much more of the sort of person that puts up videos more raw than not. But again, it's just different styles. I've just been kind of lucky that a lot of you do kind of prefer that more raw, edged sort of thing, where all I've really done is trim the beginning and trim the end and made sure there's no big gaps of silence in the middle for like loading screens. I'm looking at you, Dreamfall. But generally, like, whenever I've added like a beginning or ending section, people always do like, I don't really care for that, and it's like, okay, well, it's gone now. I don't have to update it anymore. That's great. But yeah, so yeah, there's no real big plans. We're just having fun and enjoying ourselves, and isn't that just life? Let's just enjoy ourselves. Are we talking about the 2009 Ghostbusters video game? I'm not saying that that's, obviously I have people that watch me that are younger than I am, but it just kind of feels like, oh wow, that's a childhood game for someone at this point. I actually really enjoyed that game. I haven't finished it, although I own 2 copies of it. I own it on both PS3 and PC, and I always get to about the same point, and then I go, this is good. I don't want this to end, and then I walk away, and then I just never end up finishing it. But I do love I love that painting of Vigo that you can go up to him and he just keeps spouting non sequiturs. The one I think that just sticks out in my head the most is just like, I would wear you like a pair of pants, and be like, funny. But my favorite game of all time would probably have to be Al-Qudim's The Genie's Curse, which is kind of weird to be like, that's an RPG, and I'm not real, I've played RPGs. There's nothing wrong with RPGs. I'm just more of an adventure gal. But I think it's because that particular game is kind of like the D&D RPG game made more adventure game style, because it is that general, obstacle and solution sort of thing. And it's a puzzler. It's filled with puzzles. And you can entirely ignore all the RPG elements and just like focus on the action parts of the game. Yeah, but probably when it comes to like proper adventure games, it's either Laura Bow or Gabriel Knight series. They just keep flicking backwards and forwards. I appreciate in Laura Bow the whole observation and comprehension elements of the gameplay, and I think that's interesting, and you can go for stories where you actually start building like a headcanon that is your own, and you can there is a solution to that game, but technically if you can build the headcanon to justify it, you could actually probably change the plot of the ending of that game based on how much observation and comprehension that you have built up from like different various storylines and all that. And it's probably something that might come into play with Lorna Baines, that if you can actually throw enough conviction behind something, you might change the outcome of a solution, even if you're wrong, because you have gotten the evidence and you have actually justified a point of view to someone that and that someone might be the police, and then they might follow your reasoning, and then that might change the outcome of like later in the game. Again, you know, like lofty plans. The reason that, you know, Lorna Baines has taken so long is not just that it's like, you know, your basic bitch. No, your basic adventure game. It's you know, it's always one of those things. I feel kind of bad for being like, it's not your average adventure game. There are probably going to be people that hate it, but you know, it's more about doing something different and ingenious and hybriding certain different engines, not engines, but you know, like different ways of thinking and trying something new, because that's the thing I tend to like about weirder older games, that it might be like, oh yeah, you know, this is kind of crap and you know, terrible and all that, but this idea here is interesting. So it's kind of like taking some of those things and bringing them together in a way that makes something new and unique, because I think that that's, especially in this day and age where you know, we have so many games either trying to be something old or be something the same but with a different story, that bringing something unique to the table might be the thing that gets you to stand out a bit more. I mean, like, look at Francisco's last game, Lamplight City, where it was okay to fail. I mean, it's okay to fail in a couple of other games, but you know, he really managed to play that home properly and did it in such a different, unique way that I think that that's going to stand out a lot more than some of the other games that you might be like, well, technically you failed that case, but we're going to just gloss over that reason and just, you know, forget about it. So yeah, doing unique things takes time, but obviously I like Gabriel Knight because here is Gabriel himself. Let's get you up in the screen. Hello. What have you got to say about your games? Yes. Very important. But yeah, so, you know, the storylines of Gabriel Knight are excellent. The fact that you know, that they change the interface every single time doesn't really bother me. They tried something different and new every single time. Varying, you know, levels of competency. There are some issues, I say, with the characterization kind of becoming a bit more cardboard over the time, because it was kind of left to the side for the plots and for the engines, for the new engines, and hello, and but you know, they're still three very excellent games in their own rights, and yeah. So it kind of bounces between those and Lorabo, just to which one on any given day is the one that I would prefer to play in an adventure game. Again, Genie's Curse comes up a lot, and I really need to find someone that wants to play that with me so I can show them a whole brand. Just trying to think about adventure game villains. You know, like, some adventure game villains just don't stand out in my mind so much as, like, you know, situations. I do have, like, characters that I love that are, like, side characters, like, you know, Olympia Miklos, my spirit angel. No, my spirit animal. But in terms of villainy, probably the one that pops out in my head the most at the moment has to be, what's that character's name? I don't remember his name. It's from the Charnel House trilogy, and it's like the most spooky, terrifying moment where it's such a big spoiler to even talk about it. But basically, he just, like, you know, no, I can't say anything because I do wanna stream and let's play that game. So let's just say that there's a villain character in Charnel House trilogy, and it kind of necessarily is not the main villain of the game, but they are a villainous type character, and the whole thing is just chilling. This, like, as he actually tells you what he's done, and you just sit there in horror, just being like, oh, yeah. So, that's probably my favorite game villain at the moment, anyway, unless, you know, something else comes up. Can't really think of any other adventure game villains that really do it for me. No, because that's not really a villain. No, that wasn't a stupid villain. I suppose there's like Von Glower, but from Gabriel Knight 2, but in some ways he's not really a villain so much as he's just seeking someone for the end of the world, and some stuff that goes down, not exactly his fault, but he didn't actually do anything to really make it any better. So I wouldn't even really call him a villain. I would just call him like well, this sucks. We could have been something, but you weren't cray cray. You ain't cray cray, and I was a shadow hunter. But yeah, so I cannot think of any specific villain that I would be like, yes. Well, so in terms of streaming, once we've finished Thimbleweed Park, which honestly has taken us longer than I thought it would, did get a little bit stuck, but also the fact since we're doing all our voices ourselves, wow, doing all the voices ourselves, you know, that it just kind of it's kind of made it go longer. Probably also the fact that, you know, I wasn't able to stream in the last couple of weeks at leaving my house because, you know, this computer came here and I had my laptop and I had streamed Conquest of the Longbow on that same laptop, and I thought things were fine, but then there was this green issue. It turns out it was Microsoft, the game mode, just suddenly, like, because it's an old laptop, I've had it since 2012, and it just, you know, sort of, it was causing green. Anyone that came to those green streams, it was just green, and it was just, like, unbearable. And then, last weekend, before I moved, just the internet just was not participating. It was just kind of like, yeah, you know, it's going to be really slow. And I just went, I can't put people through that. So, we've had like 3 weeks off Thimbleweed Park. And I thought maybe that would be like a 4 video sort of thing, 4 streamed, section. And it's looking probably, I'd say more like 6 or even more. But the game that I want to do straight after that is Legends of Kyrandia, and it would probably be in the same sort of method where we're doing our own voices, so I'd be going through and switching stuff off. In terms of things I'm planning on Let's Playing, most of them are related to the idea of it being the 10th anniversary of my channel, stuff that I've always wanted to do for a long time. So like we've talked about Eagle Eyes Mysteries in London, and again, gotta work out what sort of form that would take. I would also really like to do King's Quest 6 this year, and that would most definitely be in that sort of let's ruin, let's act sort of style. I'm getting quite comfortable with certain people in terms of voices, like, you know, like I'm really digging voices that Ikifu does, and Dave, Wanderer Dave, although I'd really love to get Darth Helmet back in, but, you know, it's just, again, time zones, because what works for Dave in that is generally, like, early in the morning for me, and it's even earlier for Darth, like, it's like 4 a.m. for him, so he generally does not want to get involved at that point. But I really would love to have Darth back on my videos, and, you know, some, Del, there's always Del. I love Del. Del would be great to have back in those things. Grundislav, oh god. If you want yourself a good voice that's just gonna riff off anything, you get Grundy. You get our good friend Francisco Gonzalez. I mean, he's the only professional voice actor amongst us. Although, you know, I do some voices if you want some voices. I don't just do Southern Bells, I swear. It's just that we've been playing a lot of, with, you know, Thimbleweed Park. It's, you know, set in Midtown. It's, you know, it's set in the middle of the USA. And, you know, when I think of American accents, the one I'm always most comfortable with is either a New Yorker or a Southern Belle, or a Southern Belle that's become a New Yorker. You know, like, it's just, it's a thing with me. So, that's the reason why that has been happening that way so far. But yeah, so lots of ideas. Again, as I said, King's Quest 6, stuff that I'm in the middle of that I want to finish that will, you know, start showing up in the next couple of days, would be, you know, finishing up Quest for Glory 4, and again, I'll just explain the quick reasons why Quest for Glory 4 has been on such a long hiatus. Basically, we recorded the whole end of the game, and my microphone on the program shorted out, and I did not notice that it had shorted out, because, you know, Dell could hear me quite fine, and he was laughing at some of my voices, and so I've got this beautifully, you know, like, put together gameplay where we've got the audio level good, we've got Dell's voice good, there is none of my lines, and I'm the main person speaking for most of it. So I literally have been going through and replacing my voice going through. We could have just recorded it, but for one thing, I would have had to have replayed the game up to that point because I saved over the save game. And part of it was that, you know, it was the first time Dell had ever seen the game, so if we replayed it, then he wouldn't have that same sort of blind experience about the ending. So yeah, sorry, that's taken me some time to get through that. Like I said, like, I haven't always had my big computer here, and the other one is absolutely terrible for audio editing. Like, it just keeps jumping and skipping, and you just kind of go like, I can't do this. I can't work with that to edit on that. Even though we recorded it on there. So now that my computer is here and it's all set up and situated, it's going to start getting, you know, properly edited and going to start showing up again. And Dreamfall was just that, you know, like, I kind of dropped Dreamfall because, you know, middle of last year I got that really bad, like, I got acute pneumonia. And I couldn't stop coughing, and, you know, like, there was the whole thing of changing jobs as well, and trying to rework out stuff with that, and life was the worst thing, and I just didn't want to put people through me having a coughing fit every couple of minutes. But again, not really as much the problem anymore. My throat gets a bit dry still, even though it's, you know, been over half a year. Like, we're getting close to a year since I had that. So, not quite fully recovered with the voice, but, you know, I'm going to call it 98% there, so, I'm really not. I'm just a person who likes making games. Yeah, well, you know, I was about to say that's wrong, but no, I like making games, I like talking about games. Oh god, I love talking about video games. I've gotten to the point that all I want to do at the moment is talk about, like, stuff like Dreamfall and Longest Journey in, like, an analysis sort of way, but at the same time, they're filled with so many spoilers that I would actually need someone that, well, not even just, like, be like spoiler warning, but, like, actually someone that understands what the fuck I'm going on about to then, like, be like in a discussion. But I love talking about game mechanics and about, you know, the unseen reasons of things. But again, I'm just this, you know, nerdy person. I'm, you know, 34 and living with my mother. Not in a bad way. Mama's not well. Not anything bad, but, you know, like, what's it called, that, you know, it suited us to live together, and yeah, you know, some people would probably look at my life and be like, that's quite pathetic, and I would say, no, I'm doing me, you know, this is how we roll. Something better comes along, then maybe I'll do something better, but that some people might consider better. But, you know, you do what you do. You adult. We all sign into this unseen contract where, you know, you're born, so at some point you must become an adult and do the adult things, such as earn money and have jobs and responsibility. And, you know, if you're lucky, you get to not do all that stuff for as long as possible. Yeah, you know, you have fine passions, and you hold to the passions more than you hold to the boring stuff that makes you really stressed. Like, going back even several years ago when I did, like, a hiatus back in 2013 because my job at the time had just ramped up so much, and I was earning so much money that I couldn't just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and do this other thing instead. But, you know, like, you can't throw yourself fully into the adulting, because that sort of stuff just empties you out and disconnects you from people, and you can't really go all hog into like the social happy stuff, because then you don't have the money or the, you know, the ability to actually go out and do that stuff. And especially, like, you know, I'm living in Australia, and generally actually no, all of my friends, like all of my really close friends, are all in different countries. I need money to get out to go and see them, and we can have these amazingly intense experiences, and then I go back home and I adult. And the great thing about the internet net that we have is that we can then still have like relationships with these people that, you know, connect you into them. It's different than, you know, probably relationships that my brother and sister have had by being, you know, older than me. None of them can say that they've got friends from 20 years ago that they met online that are still like daily parts of their lives. I know that, like, you know, my sister, like, she's still really good friends with her high school friends, but she doesn't see them on a daily basis. She might go months without seeing them. And yes, like when they go back into each other's lives, it's all like, well, who cares? You know, we're still really good friends, but they're different relationships. And what was I saying anymore at this point? I'm just really grateful for certain people, you know, like people that just like let me talk to them. I can babble about nothing and everything, and you know, again, I, you know, had some very difficult years in the past couple of years, and I just kind of disconnected a little bit while being simultaneously, you know, it's a weird thing to explain, but there are certain people that I'm grateful for that I would consider so much more awesome than I am. And you know, like, it's stuff like, you know, like recent like, again, I keep saying relationships, but I mean like friendships, because I don't have romantic relationships, but you know, like people that you just come and meet, that you feel like you've met all your life, that, you know, just sink into your life just so deeply. And they're the people that I would say are awesome and grateful, and they put up with me, and I love them. And, you know, most of them make some sort of videos. You should follow them. You know, like people like Darth's not really doing videos anymore. Hopefully, now these eyes are fixed, he will be doing more videos. But, you know, like Grundislav, his games are amazing. I love them. You know, Space Quest Historian, he's just such a lovely man. I don't, like, you know, like, again, I don't really have that much fond memories of Space Quest. It's probably the game of the series of Sierra games that I've played the least of, just because some of them are really harsh, and, you know, like, they're the ones that I played as a kid, and I just went, I don't, you know, like, if you just play Space Quest 1, like, the original, you just go, like, I don't know, like, what, why would I put myself back into that? That was just, like, a death simulator. But yeah, no, he has such passion for those games, and for other ones that, you know, I want to do, like, a quote from, like, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, no, just My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where it's like, you know, they're different Sierra series, but in the end, we're all still Sierra enthusiasts. I mean, adventure game enthusiasts, really, but, you know, if he is the Space Quest Historian, but, you know, if I was going to be named after a Sierra game series, it would either be Gabriel Knight or Laura Bow. So, you know, it's one of those things that we're all adventure game enthusiasts, and I just enjoy that passionate intersection with him. Not like that, but, you know, just like, he's a lovely man, and it's always a joy to have any interaction with him. Who else at the moment? Oh, how could I forget? Ikifu. Ikifu has just been an absolute joy to become his friend over the last couple of months. And, you know, I'd seen a couple of his videos before, because we knew each other briefly. Well, not briefly, but, you know, like, we knew each other off Twitter, and I'd seen, like, one or two of them. But, like, I've been going through them lately, and they are amazing. You should definitely go and check it out. He just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and he deserves so much more. Yeah, like, go and do that. Forget about this. Go and do that. he puts like proper time and research and effort into these things, and I just come in here and I just talk about anything. I mean, I literally can do that. I can talk about anything. I will break down the reasoning behind something, probably wrongfully, but again, passion. Search for your passion and go for it, because that's what life is about. It's about, finding something that works for you and really getting into it. And, respecting it when it's not the same thing that someone else is passionate about. But I'm just going to, at this point, if I go on any further, it's just going to be about rambling about what life is and why we should all be good to each other, and we really should be good to each other. I don't really have anything else to say except forget about this, forget about all of this. But, I have been doing this almost 10 years, and yes, I hit a rather significantly larger milestone than some other people that I've been doing videos with. But I don't want to say I don't do any effort, but I just come here and I play a game and I talk, and it's baffling almost that people have launched into sticking with me for 10 years. There are usernames that occasionally just that will send a message, and I'll be like, I remember you from 9 years ago. There are names John Broman messaged here, and I went, oh, John, I was thinking about you last week. These interactions that we have, they're not, they may feel like they're fleeting, but someone remembers you. You might change your name and I might be then confused about who you are. You know who you are. In regards to changing your name on me and then being confused why I didn't know who you were anymore. But, you are remembered. I appreciate every single comment I've ever got. I mean, there's been some horrible comments. Don't get me wrong, because that is life, being a woman on the internet. But, most of you that have stayed have been lovely people, and it has been a joy to be this weird, unbridled voice just going at a game in ways that probably some of these games shouldn't be played. There's so many things I can think back and be like, why did you make that joke? Why did you say that? But then you guys come in and you say that you really enjoyed that, and I go, well, okay, so obviously I was doing the right thing. I can ramble all day. I have been talking for almost an hour and a half. So really, all I've got to say at that point is that thank you for sticking with me for 10 years. Especially through hiatuses and, shitty years and years that I, because I have to, we all have to adult. We all have to stand up and be responsible for little plots of our lives, and shitty things have happened to all of us because, stuff isn't fair and life isn't fairy tales. But at the same time, hold on to the fairy tales, because that's where the wanderlust is. And I'm just saying words at this point. But I appreciate you all, and I hope that we keep having fun, because that's why we do this. We don't do this to get rich or famous, or at least in my case I don't, because otherwise I'd be like, well, this has taken me 10 years to get this far, maybe this isn't the right way we go. But we do this to have fun and to be passionate, and again, that's what life's about. Be passionate, people, and fight for what you like to do. Don't allow life to hollow you out. Don't allow yourself to disconnect entirely from people. I mean, and I've been so guilty of that. I will literally just be like, I'm not available right now. I'm not I'm not in the mind space to talk, and then I don't talk about it, and then stuff just builds up. I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that I've never really been the type of person that gets full on depressed. God, some of the stuff the last couple of years would have just been the worst if I was. I've been pretty lucky that I been quite good at the self-care in the sense that it'd be like, no, I can't really talk right now. I need to, go and sit in a corner and think about my time on this earth. But God, I just really want to play with that. But yeah, just thank you. I don't know why any of you are still here, and probably none of you are. So yeah, do what you feel passionate and go for it. And I will see you in more videos. I'm not planning on going anywhere. You're stuck with me now. I'm your friend. I mean, really, you could just unsubscribe and never watch another video again. But if you want me, I'm here. Bye.